What's going on, everybody? Patrick Auger here with the Body Lock with Mr. Matthew Wells. And today we're talking about a confirmed fight between Ben Askren and YouTuber Jake Paul. So it was announced just today that this will be an 8-round main event for Triller. If you don't know who Triller is, that's who Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. just fought under. Did a whole big spectacle. Pretty good event overall for what I thought was a one-off, right? I mean, not the best event, but you brought back some nostalgia. You had some good commentary. You had a whole good stuff going on. Jake Paul did fight out as the co-main on that one, knocking out basketball star Nate Robinson. And if you haven't followed the saga, he's been calling out Conor McGregor a bunch. He called out Dylan Dennis, sort of, but maybe it was planned. Who knows? He called out Askren, called out McGregor again. Apparently, Askren is who he is settled on, and that's who got the deal done. And the UFC is given the blessing and everything. So first of all, I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it for the sake of the fans. How are you feeling about this, Matt?
First of all, how dare you refer to Jake Paul as just a YouTuber? He is a professional boxer, and I need you to address him as such. Okay? Okay. Yeah, this is stupid. Very stupid. But it's the times that we're in now. And they've created this whole new, I guess, genre of combat sports. It's like the resurgence of celebrity boxing, right? But this time it's like brought on by these former YouTube, or I guess still current YouTube brothers who have a whole bunch of followers and just decided one day, hey, we're going to go box other YouTubers, and just started this whole new thing all over again, where it's like, okay, let's just keep doing it because we're making money. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. People are buying it. People are watching it. People are, apparently entertained by it. It's important, though, to note because as much as I hate it because it's like, we have legit combat sports athletes that are taking part in these events. Ben Askren is a hell of a mixed martial artist. He's not known for his hands by any means. Like, that is by far and away his worst attribute. But here he is in a boxing match. But he's still very much a top tier martial artist if he were to go back into the cage and compete on the next UFC event.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm with you 100% in terms of I hate that we're talking about it and it's stupid, but it's the revival of celebrity boxing, just with YouTube guys and now mixed martial arts guys, all of that. It's what it is, and it is a money grab. It's made money. If you look at KSI versus Logan Paul, which is really the first one of these, did over 1 million buys. Wasn't the normal, price in terms of $50-$60, that type of thing. I think it was only 20 or something along those lines. But still, I mean, it made money, and it clearly, they saw that and said, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it's possible, dare I say, that Conor McGregor kicked this all off when he fought Floyd Mayweather in 2017, because really it started to crop up since then and just been kind of a thing of, yep, we're going to have exhibition boxing matches here. And we're going to sell it on pay-per-view. We're going to have Snoop Dogg on commentary. We're going to be doing live, full, basically concerts in between each bout, according to the last Triller event. So, it is a money grab, and it's what's viewed as an opportunity here. We'll get more into the business side of it later, but with that being said, you mentioned Askren, right? Isn't known for his hands. He's still a top-level martial artist, mixed martial artist. Yes, his last couple appearances in the UFC were rough, but that doesn't mean he's still not a very good mixed martial artist. But he's also older, right? And he also had a hip replacement, I think in September, not that long ago. He was bragging about on the Hawaii show, showed his scar and all of that. He said it was part of the reason he was retiring was so that he could go get that, replacement done. He did that. It is, I guess just to start is with that all, being said, are we favoring Jake Paul in this fight?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're taking Jake Paul in this fight. Not only because Jake Paul has proven he can knock someone out. And Jake Paul can also move. He can move. Ben Askren is not the smoothest. He's not the fleetest of foot. He doesn't have the best footwork in the world. So yeah, especially after a hip replacement, yeah, Jake Paul is going to knock his block off. And it's going to be ugly. And I hate saying that about a guy who is really, really good when it comes to mixed martial arts. But that's where we are. These are different sports, different disciplines. We're putting him in an arena where he does not excel by any means. Very much a one-dimensional martial artist, but at that particular dimension, very, very good. A lot of UFC fans were never really introduced to the Ben Askren that those of us who watched his career, elsewhere in other promotions were privy to. His ONE FC run is ridiculous. Go back and pull up those old fights. Just insane what he was doing to guys. All right. But here we are. I am glad that he has an opportunity to cash out again. Right. However many times he decides to do this, good on him. As long as he's making money, I'm hoping it's very profitable for him. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird when you think about it, because he's not a guy that you would typically, desire to see with a pair of boxing gloves on. But, here we are. It's 2021. The madness continues from 2020.
Yeah, it's not done yet, apparently. And, you mentioned that run in one championship. Also, you got to mention Bellator, right? He beat Douglas Lima. He beat him soundly, right? That Douglas Lima that you've seen knockout MVP on highlights that, everyone says, ooh, that'd be an interesting matchup between Douglas Lima and Kamaru Usman, especially now after Chandler coming over. Oh, okay. Bellator's got fighters. It's not just the second-rate promotion that the UFC has been spewing for years. It's got really good talent, which we knew, but still, that Douglas Lima got handily beat by Ben Askren. And honestly, prime Ben Askren versus prime Douglas Lima, I'm not sure it would go that much differently than what happened. He is an amazing mixed martial artist, but he's very good at wrestling. That's his ground game is his world. And yes, between the age, the hip replacement, and the striking that we saw in the UFC, which I'm just using that because that's really, I don't want to say that's the most striking we've seen from him, but I mean, that's the most recent striking we've seen from him, and it did not look good. It's hard not to favor Paul in this one. And another thing we got to bring up here, because you're talking about Ben making, money and doing that. I'm with you 100%. But he mentioned on the Helwani show, or in the interview, that he's still under contract with the UFC, and the UFC gave them his blessing, or gave him their blessing to do this. Essentially said, yeah, go ahead and take this match. There's a lot of talk that if Jake Paul goes out there and just starches Askren, it's going to be a black mark on MMA. So this is a two-parter. One, is it the right move for the UFC to let him go do this? And two, should he get knocked out? Should Askren just get destroyed? Does that really leave a black mark on MMA for the casual fans?
Well, for the casual fan, yes. Because the casual fan is going to watch promo packages where they talk about Ben Askren being this incredible martial artist. And they're going to probably, I'm sure, show clips of him throwing punches in a cage and it looking somewhat decent. But all the while not knowing that's not how he wins fights. So, yeah, once he goes out there and gets knocked out by Jake Paul or gets soundly beaten for how many rounds is this fight? 8?
8 rounds, yeah.
Whatever the case may be. Yeah, a lot of casual fans are going to be like, see, YouTubers can fight against anybody. And it's just going to be this whole thing on social media that's going to be really, really, really obnoxious and really annoying to deal with, especially if those people try to hop in my mentions. Because, boy, I will be click with the block button because I'm not about to hear all that madness. But, That's the thing, man. And I don't blame the UFC for doing it at all, because I mean, for all intents and purposes, he was done for the UFC, right? Done, essentially. I don't think the UFC had plans for Ben Askren anymore. So yeah, why not? Let the guy go make some money, and it also looks good for, you know, potential antitrust lawsuits arguments. So there you go.
Yep. No, I mean, that's really, you hit the nail on the head at the end there, especially. I'm pretty sure that's the main reason they're letting him do this, especially because they're apparently not taking a cut. There's no, this isn't Maymac where UFC is getting a big chunk of this for co-promoting and all of that. I'm the only reason I could imagine it makes sense for the UFC to allow Askren to do this, because they've got to look at this too and probably think, well, maybe we believe in our guy, but even if we do believe in our guy, we've got to admit that there's a good chance he loses here. That doesn't look the best. The only reason you're doing this is because you don't have, any more plans for Askren. He's gone out on a couple of losses that looked pretty bad, to be honest. And he's kind of past his prime. So you could say, oh, okay, he's washed up. That's not a real UFC guy. That's a way past his prime guy. He only came in here and beat a couple guys. It's not a big deal. You could kind of say all that. And at the same time, as you mentioned, if the antitrust lawsuit gets to trial, where we're actually looking at evidence, hearing arguments, here's another example of saying, oh no, see, we're not breaking any antitrust laws. Go ahead, do your thing. You're not an employee. You're allowed to do whatever. So that's definitely something in their pocket there. And yeah, in terms of the black mark on the sport, I think it will be at most a temporary one, even for casuals. And I say that because if you look at boxers that have come into MMA, right, and have done kind of terrible most times, in that situation where they've made that transition, yes, there was a black mark for a little bit where people thought, oh yeah, MMA superior. Look, you can do all these things in a real fight. An MMA guy won. But that still didn't stop people from going and watching the bigger boxing pay-per-views. It didn't stop, people saying, oh, I want to watch Anthony Joshua, or I want to watch Canelo or Mayweather. No. And so I think the same kind of applies here. Like, yes, it will be kind of a like, see, like MMA, it's not like they're still not the best boxers in the world, but that's not going to stop people from watching not Mayweather. I hope not Mayweather in MMA. Not going to stop people watching McGregor. Not going to stop people watching Adesanya, watching John Jones. It's not going to happen. So it's a temporary black mark at best, I think.
You bringing up Mayweather reminded me of that video clip he posted of the slow walk to the cage. What are the odds? Oh, that ridiculousness. And people bought into it. Oh, Mayweather's going to do it. No, listen, it's important that we as fans, and especially media and, non-casual viewers of combat sports, and hardcore fans, everybody essentially, that we recognize that this is something different. This is not meant to be taken as seriously as we take a Canelo fight, or as we take Conor versus Dustin. It's not to be taken seriously. When we say, like, at the end of the day, this is supposed to be entertainment and this is fun. No, this is all this is. This is all entertainment. It's all fun and no seriousness whatsoever. So I don't want to see people, pigeonholing it like into this thing to where, like, oh, combat sports, like, oh, this makes boxing look bad. This makes MMA look bad. No, this is something completely different. It has no reflection on the UFC. It has no reflection on championship boxing. This is YouTubers doing some fun shit on TV, and they're getting paid for it. So be mindful of that.
Yes. Yeah. You got to be mindful of that. Yes. It's not prime McGregor going over and fighting Canelo, right? And that being or even Floyd was retired, right? But even then, still the greatest boxer of all time. You could kind of argue that had a little bit of seriousness to it, because you still had McGregor in his prime saying, yeah, I want to go over and box. But it's not even on that level. And that was entertainment too. That was Floyd coming out of retirement to say, hey, I could make a bunch of money here. Sure, let's go ahead and do this. It's not a big deal. It's not a reflection of the sport. As you mentioned, it's celebrity boxing just using MMA fighters, which is separate of both, world championship boxing and world championship MMA. There's two separate things, not involved, other than you've got people in the sport being involved in this entertainment venture, but that's it. That's it. There's nothing more to it. So with that in mind, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications so you know when we're dropping new videos, and let us know how you feel about this matchup. Who do you think is going to win? Do some of you have Ben Askren? Do you think Jake Paul is too green? He's already beat some older dudes. Maybe a YouTuber and a basketball guy. Maybe Ben Askren, who does have striking training, can beat him. Let us know who you think is going to take this. And when all is said and done, to wrap this up, and I hate to ask this question and have our answers recorded on air, but we're going to do it. Are we buying this? Are we going to pay for this? Bat, are you paying for this?
I mean, I guess. I mean, I have to for science, right?
Yeah, that's kind of my answer too. Is I'm not like I don't know. I may balk at the end, especially depending on what's going on that weekend, right? I mean, I may and what the undercard looks like. I don't want to necessarily see another 4 concerts. In between. I think I'm good with seeing another French Montana concert for another 3 years or so. So
that's fair.
I mean, yeah.
And listen. It is a few months away, so there's a strong possibility it doesn't even happen at all. So keep that also as a possibility. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to end up buying it.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes for now, with a tentative option to say maybe I walk away, depending on that weekend. But yeah, we're buying it.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough.
As we don't promote illegal streaming on our platform.
No, we don't.
And we would never do such a thing.
Never. Not a thing. I know you're watching, Dana. No, you're not going to catch us. You're not going to catch us.